Thanks for joining me on this installment of Simple Food, Simple Life. Today we're going to make paprika chicken, so stick around. Hello, it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. Today I'm going to show you how to make a wonderful dish that I call paprika chicken. Now, what I have here is approximately 3 pounds, probably a little more than 3 pounds, of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Now, I purchased these when they were on sale at Aldi for $1.69 a pound. They're very nice, very plump thighs. That's an expression, isn't it? And I placed them in a plastic container. And what I have here is I've got 2 tablespoons of paprika, a tablespoon of Spanish paprika, and a tablespoon of regular paprika. I have a tablespoon of kosher salt, but you can use whatever salt you like. And I've got a teaspoon of black pepper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle this spice mixture on top of the chicken, just like this. And then I'm going to take a splash. I have some just white vinegar here. And I'm going to take a splash of white vinegar. And I'm just going to splash that on the top. You don't really need to measure. I just want enough to kind of cover it. Okay? So, I got a splash of white vinegar, and now I'm going to toss the chicken in the spice mixture. Okay, I've got the chicken all tossed. Now listen, you have to get in there with your hands to do that. And just make sure that you wash your hands well before and after. And by the way, I always, when I bring chicken home before I prepare it, I always rinse my chicken in cold water just to make sure that it's nice and the way I like it, okay? It's a good policy just to rinse your chicken before you cook it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this chicken, I'm going to put my lid on top of it, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to let it marinate in these spices overnight. Now, I've got a really good sturdy lid here that's nice and snug and tight, and when periodically throughout the evening, because it's late afternoon, I will toss this back and forth, give it a good toss without touching the chicken, and I will prepare the chicken tomorrow and I'll show you what I do. I think you're really going to like this. It's very, very good. Now, if you don't have overnight to let this sit in your fridge, by all means, you can let it set for several hours, but I do recommend several hours. All right, we'll be back and I will show you what we're going to do next. All right, it's the next day and I'm going to finish up the paprika chicken, which, if you remember, I put in this container and I have it in a spice marinade. And remember, the spice marinade is 2 tablespoons of paprika, one of which is smoked paprika or Spanish paprika. The other one is plain paprika. You can use either or both. It's up to you. And I've got a tablespoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, and I have a splash of white vinegar. Remember that? And this is what it looks like after it's been sitting overnight. And you'll see when you salt meat like that, that the salt will draw out the moisture of the meat, and it helps to marinate it. Now then, remember, these are boneless, skinless chicken thighs that I got for $1.69 a pound. So there's a little more than 3 pounds here. It's $5, I think $5.15, something like that, of chicken. Now, this amount can feed a family for one meal, depending on how large your family is. It can, you can use this as part of your food preparation for the week. it can make a couple of meals for a smaller family. It's really up to you, but it's a very, very economical meat dish. And the spices are really not very exotic. And the reason I say you can just use the plain paprika is because the Spanish paprika tends to be a little bit more pricey. But I just buy it in a small, just a little small spice container because I don't use it all that much. And but it's nice to have around. It does impart a bit of a more, I don't know whether you want to say smoky or spicy flavor, but not hot. Okay, so what I have here, I've got my cast iron skillet, and I am preheating my oven to 375 degrees. I'm not putting any fat or anything in this skillet. I am just simply, get you down here where you can see, I'm just simply leaving this dry. And because even though these are boneless, skinless, you can see there is a little bit of fat on each piece that remains. And that's going to be plenty of fat for this dish. I don't need to oil or grease anything. Now, you can see where the bones and skin has been removed, but I'm just going to try to keep them in the shape that they are naturally, the best I can. And they'll just cook that way nicely. Okay, now I'm going to lay these, hope you can see that. I'm going to lay these in the pan and just lay them down in there. It's not anything major. And you can use, if you don't have a cast iron skillet, use any oven safe pan or baking dish. I like to use the cast iron. I think it is good. It gives a nice color to the meat that's prepared in it. Now, frankly, don't worry if your pan is small, because frankly, I like to crowd these in. I don't want the spaces in between there. I like them crowded because I want them to stay moist. I don't want them to dry out. So you can see here, there's some of that spice mixture, the marinade that's left in there. I'm just going to pour that on the top. Now, you can leave these for a few hours to marinate, or you can set them overnight like I did. I like to use a plastic container. If you want to use a plastic bag, feel free, but I would double up the bag just in case, because you don't want a leak in your bag and then have the chicken drippings all over your fridge. That would not be good. Okay, so now then, got that done. That's pretty simple. So I'm putting these in the oven at 375 degrees for 20 minutes to start. And I'm going to put a lid on them like this. Now, you can see my lid really doesn't fit my pan, but it fits it well enough to use. And so I'm going to pop these in the oven, 375 degrees for 20 minutes. And then after the 20 minutes, I'm going to turn these over. I will reset my oven temperature to 275 degrees. And I'm going to leave them for about an hour to an hour and a half. And I am going to keep the lid on. I may, during the time at the 275 degrees, I may turn them over. It just depends. I have some painting around the house that I'm going to do this morning, so I'm not going to really pay that much attention to these, because I know that these will be just fine at 275 if I don't take the lid off, if I don't turn them. It really doesn't matter. You can attend to them however much you want, but it's so simple, you really don't need to. Now, these will come out brown and, oh, there's my timer. These will come out brown and juicy, and there will be a lot of juices that come off of them to give yourself a nice gravy or sauce if you like. But we'll get to that when we reach that point. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, all right, I'm going to get these in the oven, and when they're done, I will show you what we have. All right, my timer went off, and 20 minutes has gone by. So I'm going to turn these. Now you can see they are not overly brown, and the coloration that you see there is simply from the spices. So I'm going to get these turned over. These are definitely raw. They're not going to be done yet. I'm going to get these turned over, and I'm going to put them back in the oven. I'm going to turn my oven down to 275. I'm going to put the lid back on, and I'm going to let these cook for another hour at least. I'm going to set my timer for an hour. Now these will probably take at least an hour and a half, and you can go 2 with these easily at 275. That's pretty low, or even longer. It just depends on what you like, but just, you know, it's chicken. You got to make sure they're done. Okay, all right, I'm going to get these turned over, get them popped in there, and you know, when that 20 minutes was going on, I was getting ready to paint, so I got all my paint supplies ready and everything, and you know, you can do double duty. You don't have to sit around and wait the 20 minutes. You can get things done in between time. So, hey, listen, speaking of getting things done in between time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Okay, because other people need to know this stuff too, you know. All right, we'll be back when these are done, and be sure and comment if you like too, because I like to hear from you. Okay, I'm going to flip these over, get them back in the oven, turn my oven down, and get to work on that painting, and we'll be back. All right, our chicken, our paprika chicken is done. Now, I got busy painting, so I actually left my chicken in the oven for the second time around after I checked it, and I flipped it over again after the hour. I actually left it in for another 50 minutes, 50, not 15, because I got busy painting, and that's the beauty of it. It's on a low heat. It doesn't matter. You can keep it in there a bit longer. Doesn't this really look good? Now, I wish that you could smell this and taste this. It's so flavorful without being overpowered by spice. Now, you can see there's a lot of juices that came out in this. It's got a beautiful color. There was some shrinkage, but that's involved whenever you cook any type of meat, correct? And it's got this beautiful smell. It's just a nice, beautiful smell. And you can see these juices can be turned into a nice sauce. You can use it as a base for a nice gravy. And how about having your chicken with some rice or potatoes or noodles? How about that? This look good. They are. It really is delicious. Now, I'm going to let these cool down, and this is part of my food prep for this week. But certainly, imagine bringing this to the table, and you know what? You can leave it in this skillet. You don't have to even take it out of the skillet. You can just serve it in this. Because cast iron is always beautiful, no matter what the occasion. And you know what? Some of this served with a nice bed of rice and some of this beautiful juices poured over the top. You can't ask for any better than that, right? Right. Okay, I hope you'll give this a try. It is paprika chicken. It's easy to do. And one thing, too, I wanted to tell you, if you don't want to use the splash of vinegar, squeeze a little lemon juice on the top. That is good. Or a little bit of lime juice. Anything with an acidic quality to it. A little bit of apple cider vinegar will work too. Okay? All right, I hope that you will give this a try. I love you, and you just remember that little is much when God is in it. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thank you for watching Simple Food, Simple Life. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I welcome your comments.